The championship is a tight one this season. We've crossed the halfway point, and only 2 markers separate Topi and Timu. Meanwhile, Hisada and Tixier have both been serious threats due to impressive speed and consistency. Will one of them be able to retake the lead from the Finns? We'll find out soon as we get ready to watch Round 7 of the Lotus 49 Grand Prix Legends Series, and you'll see it all live here on the Global Sim Racing channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Christian Challoner. Behind the scenes is our director, Robert O'Brien, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Road Atlanta is a tough but fun track that tends to put on a good show. Let's head to our track guide to find out more about it. Welcome to Road Atlanta, the scene of incredible sports car racing for decades and the home to the Petit Le Mans. This is a track that has proven itself to be worthy of attention on a world stage. With it being situated only an hour northeast of Atlanta, Georgia, the circuit is in a prime location. But despite its flagship race, in contrast to the real Le Mans, the full course is a measly 2.5 miles long. The club layouts also clock in at just under 2 miles. Packed within this small lap length is a series of technical and challenging corners, some of which can be race-ending even when small mistakes are made. Turn 1 is a fast sweeper which compresses the car into the track, but the high speeds mean that when you go off, you typically go off in a big way. Turn 3 is notorious for its curved entry into a blind apex. Too far inside and you face a cut course penalty. Too far outside and you're likely to spin out. Then there's the unassuming Turn 5. The wide curving lures you into getting greedy, but the close walls on either side gobble up cars and spit them out as a crumpled heap. With all the tricky fast turns, that's not to say that there aren't passing opportunities. The main one comes at the chicane at the bottom of the backstretch. The huge downhill drop into the turn makes outbraking yourself quite easy though, so be careful. The whole thing wraps up with the frightening final corner. With nothing but a giant wall right to the outside as cars fly through at high speed, it's not often that wrecks are small. Boasting a wide swath of series over its history, everything from NASCAR to Indy Lights and of course IMSA, the main use of the track is SCCA events and driving schools. No wonder this place is popular both in real life and here on the iRacing service. Fans will no doubt get to enjoy many more years of action at this incredible track. Well, Christian, this is a track that usually shows up at the other end of the year for most series, but they've elected to put this right after the iRacing Daytona 24, so we head off to the classic Road Atlanta.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, it's a pretty well-suited car and track combination. I would say the rundown through the S's is, quite frightening, to say the least, but you know, pretty fun in a car like this. Obviously, a lot of flowing corners and whatnot, but you can make some mistakes through there. Definitely expecting to see some passes at the end of the backstretch and into the last chicane today.
I'm pretty certain that's going to be the most popular place to try and get those done. But as we take a look at the championship, up at the top, Topi Kortaniemi with the drop weeks has helped out, but not by much. Timu Vascalampi's win has put him within 2 points of his fellow Finn. Togo Hisada, without attendance last week, finds himself slipping down to third, with Sebastian Tixier only 4 points behind him as well. And then Roman Pawlowski sits a little bit farther back. He's still yet to get a win this season along with Sebastian. So things remaining tight even past halfway, which is what we like to see. Let's take a look at the F2 championship now.
And Hoya Niva has got a pretty good lead, I would say. He's at 21 points over Bill Wright right now. Matthew Maudsley is still pretty close for that second spot, though, only 2 positions back. Randy Howe, a little bit further back. He's 30 points off the lead, but he is actually tied for that 4th place spot with Marco Antonio Lopez Salgado.
And then for the Nations Cup, Finland still our leader, with Germany and Singapore very distant behind. The UK and the US find themselves also trailing, but in a pretty close fight with Singapore as well, trying to get into that top 3. As for today's event, in case we have some newcomers joining us, Christian, run down the race details for us.
Yep, so it's 7 of 12, so actually pretty deep into the season now, definitely into the second half. 28 laps, so around about our usual distance of about 30 minutes. Open setup as always in the 49 and no spare car, so we've seen a couple of exciting first laps, I would say, and hopefully we'll still have the majority of this very large field running by the end of the first lap today.
That's a good point, especially those first few turns, trying to get everybody sorted out before the S's. Before we get to the racing, we want to mention our sponsor, which is the Majors Garage. Make sure and check them out because they're the home of free Baseline Plus setups. Get help from any of the garage coaches 24/7. Sign up now for awesome, affordable monthly subscriptions, telemetry, coaching, and more at majorsgarage.com. Or use our special discount code MajorsGSRC for 10% off. We have a link in the description below that directly applies our special offer. Now, as we take a look at that qualifying, Martin Granberg has the number 1 on his car, but everybody is still waiting to set a time. They go by pretty quickly here, so we should see them up on the board just about a quarter past a minute for most of the drivers around here. And there you see Granberg coming down through the chicane, up and over the crest where the car is going to get light and then compresses back down the hill. Let's see what his first time lap is going to be. It's a 1:19.9, and it is not the fastest. Oh, no, excuse me, it is. Provisional pole for him. Vascalampi doesn't touch him. Neither does John Olsen. They're both more than half a second back.
Yeah, a little bit surprised, actually, that a 19.9 is going to cut it for pole right now. We've seen 18s in practice sessions, so have to wait and see if those times do come down a little bit. I got to think that they might, but Vascalampi was only a 20.5, so maybe that's the pace. Maybe a 19.9 will do it. Nope. Ove with a 19.5. He's getting closer to my benchmark.
Yeah, and Sebastian Tixier managed to go ahead of Granberg as well. So front row between Singapore and Norway right now. McClarridge, back and competing regularly, is only able to get 4th on his first lap. We're waiting on a time from guys like Toga Hisada, Laust Olsen, who's usually been relatively quick since he's joined in the 49s. Terrain grade you see coming down into turn 6 and the incredibly critical turn 7 as we now come back to Hisada.
Yeah, and you see just coming over that crest before the final corner. I've seen a couple of drivers actually struggle through there in practice, so I'm going to keep an eye on that. Only a 19.7 for Hisada, which is, still a pretty good time. It's going to move him up into second, but it's, yeah, definitely slower than I was expecting.
And it's not terribly hot out there today. It's only 83 Fahrenheit. And Vascalampi now goes to the pole with a 19.4, just about half a tenth quicker than Ove Trangrade, who does have time to respond as we watch him come down the hill, the number 15. And Mick Claridge now takes the pole away. Can he get on the front row? Trangrade crosses. It's a 19.509, and that will not get him into second place. Still, it's a handy third.
Yeah, absolutely, and I saw Tixier finish his lap in quite a interesting fashion. He was upside down on the front stretch, but he's done a 19.8 to line up in 5th so far.
Ryan Walker doing pretty well himself, up to 7th with his second lap at a 19.9. So he is going to have a top 10 start here. We've still got Togo Hisada waiting to set his second lap. This is him on screen right now. 19.7 on the board, about a quarter of a second behind Ove Trangrade there, who he shares the second row with currently. Coming down the hill using every inch of the track all the way out, and it got deleted. So he must have just went off right at the end there. And let's see, do we have anybody else able to set a time? It looks like Sanchez, who just went up to 12th, has one more time around. And I think he is the only one able to set a second lap. Let me double check that. Looks like Miro Razki also able to come by. Glenn Becker, Andrew Ang. So just a couple others are still looking to put the last time lap down. We've got Don Peak on here. His first lap was his best at a 23.5. That's going to be interesting, the wide disparity that we're seeing between some of the drivers too, Christian. It is such a short lap around here, and with 41 cars, I believe, traffic is not going to be fun.
Yeah, we've got a couple of cars that are about 4 seconds off the pace of the leaders, so they're definitely going to catch them before the end, and that's going to be interesting. And in our notes here, there is a mention about how difficult it's going to be if you catch a lapped car through the first part of the lap, through the S's. And yeah, I have to agree. I think that's definitely not a great place at all to catch somebody, because you're just stuck behind them for such a long time. And obviously it's quite a dangerous place to be stuck behind somebody as well. So that can definitely either bunch up the lead group or even break up the pack if we kind of get those lap cars in amongst the lead train, which I totally think that we're going to have here with the length of the backstretch. I think everybody's going to be locked together for quite a substantial amount of time.
Interesting to note that I'm looking at the driver chatter, and Timo Vascalampi even mentioned that it feels very slippery, the weather specifically. And as I said, it shouldn't be. It's not terribly hot. It's also not outrageously cold out there. So even the drivers are noticing the difference in the speed. And there is a bit of wind, and I'm not sure if that is a headwind down the backstretch, which could slow them up. But again, that would not explain the slipperiness.
No, it's definitely curious. As I said, I was expecting times down into the 18s for qualifying, so pretty significantly off that in the 19s, and only really just about in the low 19s with 19.3s. So yeah, it looks like everybody kind of struggled a little bit there in qualifying.
Well, we'll try and unravel that mystery, but until then, we do have the grid ready to go. Let's go through our starting order. With Mick Claridge managing to come back with a pole position, Timo Vascalampi going to try and challenge him from that front row, with Ove Trangrade starting third and Togo Hisada P4. Sebastian Tixier, fifth for him, followed by Martin Grandberg in the sixth position. Ryan Walker starts seventh, and then it's Jorge Nieva on the outside of row four. Bill Tyler starts ninth, and Xavier Sanchez is in 10th.
Lined up in 11th, we got John Olsen alongside Fabian Dahn. And we got Bill Wright, who's actually a little bit behind Hoya Niva for that F2 championship. Chris Murakami lines up in 14th, Eitor Sanchez Galindo. Then 15th, Laust Olsen. We've seen him nab a couple of top 10s this season. He's lined up in 16th with Miro Haraski behind him in 17th, with Marco Antonio Lopez Salgado in 18th. Emmanuel Pereira in 19th, with Joseph Mudrek rounding out the top 20.
Bruce Nelson starts 21st, followed by Michael Grissinger P22. Then it's Robert Plumley in 23rd. Randy Huff, 24th today, as Nolan Smith starts 25th. Matthew Maudsley, 26th, and Raul Wallbank, P27. His outside, it's going to be Andrew Ang. Glenn Becker starts 29th, and then top 30 rounded out by Andre Bruno.
Christian Eschner lines up in 31st with Eugenio Massa in 32nd. Donald Peake lines up 33rd with Andre Giusse. We saw him having a couple of spins in practice. He's in 34th. Gary Anderson 35th with Scott Lambert last timed lap in 36th. Leonard Schneibel in 37th. Gary Ho, saw him having a few issues in qualifying as well. He's in 38th. Jack David Spickett in 39th with Rene Langevin rounding out the top 40.
Uldrich Fraunberg, the last of them. And we are just about ready to go. In fact, we're going right now as the green flag is out. It's a horrible start for Trangrade, and he is just getting swamped by everybody. And down into the first corner, Vascalampi trying to go around the outside of Mick Claridge, but can't quite get the job done. That's going to make him slow. And Hisada has a chance to maybe challenge. No, he backs out of it, coming up into turn 3. Seeing if we have any offs coming through the first corner. And I'm seeing a couple cars slow, but otherwise I think we're okay.
Yeah, very clean start so far, actually, even through that chicane at the top of the hill. And it was a pretty difficult start. A lot of drivers are actually starting on the downhill.
Andrew Ang with a bit of an off and had to take the escape road, but he's able to keep going without hitting anything. So yes, everybody taking it nice and calm, even with this huge field. And up onto the back stretch, Claridge already trying to do everything he can to pull away.
Yeah, pretty good job actually already. 7/10. It's not going to be enough. Definitely to see Vascalampi catch that up, but he's got Hisada to worry about, who's actually pretty close for a first lap pass maybe.
Let's see if he can do anything coming down into the chicane. Looks a little too far back to me behind them. Actually, he's got to watch out because a spinning car. That is Sebastian Tixier in the 10. Thankfully not hit by anybody somehow and gets it rolling, but he slots out of the top 10.
Yeah, we talked about Tixier not having a win yet this season, but he has had a very good season so far, and well, that's actually, I think, the first mistake I've really seen from him.
I want to say I've seen a few others, but that is definitely going to hurt him because he lost a lot of spots here. I don't know if that was a legitimate attempt or if he just didn't anticipate the checkup down into that heavy braking zone. Great job by all the cars behind to avoid him.
Yeah, that could have been pretty nasty there when he was sort of coming back across the track and drivers had to pick either left or right. Seemed like it worked out about as good as it gets, really, and a very, very clean lap overall. I believe we have everybody still in the race.
We do indeed. Only one driver I've seen in pit lane is Massa, who had a pit lane start. Otherwise, we're all rolling on lap 2. And coming down the back stretch once again, Claridge with still about half a second over Vascalompi. He is much closer this time than he was last time, and they are stretching away from Hisada.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised that they've been able to pull the small gap here on Hisada. I'm expecting him to try and run that back down because this is one of those tracks where the draft is quite powerful. Obviously, the straight is very, very long.
Looks like we had a pass Sanchez on Sintez Galindo there. That was for 9th place. Just behind them, Chris Murakami, and then Tixier on his recovery drive has yet to overtake anybody. He's still getting settled in here. On to turns 1 and up towards 3. Huge climb up the hill here into this blind braking zone. You can see nobody really willing to risk it at this stage, but now Tixier is getting interested in the back of Murakami in that number 12 machine.
Yeah, and I think he has to, really, because they're all starting to string it out, actually, which is a little bit surprising, but Tixier is not going to want to run outside of the top 10. He's going to try and get back in, and he's definitely got the pace to do it.
Down into turn 6, not as common of a place, but it's a heavy braking zone in this car. He manages to get through. Now he's got to make sure not to run wide as he runs a little offline there through 7, and that's going to just give Chris Murakami the slipstream.
Yeah, he's made himself vulnerable here down into the final chicane, but I have to see if Murakami actually goes for the repass here. It looks like he's thinking about it.
It's not quite as quick in a straight line. Now that is definitely not anything due to aerodynamics in this car. There's no wings to speak of. That must be some sort of gearing as Tixier keeps himself out of range, at least for now. So that will get him 11th place. Still about 5 or 6 more to go to get back where he was before, as Ove Trangrade just set the fastest lap of the race from 4th.
Yeah, I'm just having a quick look through our list here to see who's sort of the biggest movers. And one driver going kind of the opposite way, actually. I'm not sure what happened to him. Jorge Neva, F2 points leader, is actually down in 16th after starting in 8th.
That's unusual for him because he's had some very good finishes so far this season. We've had an off for Randy Huff in the 33, and that's coming through turn 3. Not sure if he had help there. I think he did. I think this was with the 18 of Schnabel that got into the side of him here. It's going to be on the right-hand side of the car of Huff. There we go. Now we can see the contact. Just a little hip check, it looks like. And car is already on edge there. Not much he can do.
Yeah, just a slight contact there. But as you say, that's a difficult corner at the best of times with a single car. So two into one through there, especially in the 49, is really not going to go.
Tixier trying to get by Sintez Galindo side by side, coming down through the final turn, and he wins that game of chicken for now. But it might not last for long because here comes Murakami. And in fact, Sintez Galindo wants to try and fight back down into turn 1 behind them. Also a battle between Olsen and Billy Bob Wright. And Billy Bob Wright gets snookered into that first corner.
And he's going to lose another one at the top of the hill as well.
That is Fabian Dana, I believe, and somehow gets it done through turn 3. Some antsy drivers and a little bit of wheel spin to boot coming into the S's.
Yeah, it definitely looks like it's actually more difficult than I was expecting to set up passes. So when you do see someone kind of out of rhythm, you pretty much got to immediately take advantage of it. We've seen it a couple of times now. A driver loses one spot and immediately loses a couple more straight afterwards.
Hisada's managed to catch up to Vascalompi. We might have a change for second place. We thought it was going to be Timu challenging Mick, but it is the reverse. He is now on the defense, down into the braking for the chicane. Togo not quite brave enough to really get the overlap.
He's got to watch out for Ove, though. Ove is now into this fight, too.
All over the gearbox of the Japanese driver as they come down the front stretch. And once again, a little bit of a checkup coming through that final turn, but Hisada keeps it safe down into the first corner as he nearly comes up to the gearbox of the Finn.
And this is pretty good for Mick Claridge right now. Obviously, he's watching these guys fight behind him and not really under any threat himself.
This is getting intense for these battles for the podium. And they're already catching a lapped car. I think this is Scott Lambert. Oh, we had a problem with Sanchez. Sanchez with a wreck coming out of turn 4, it looks like. I think that was right after a pass on John Olsen as well. Snuck through in turn 3. Car already looks out of sorts. Does this carry on? Wheel on the curb. Wow. That looked incredibly subtle. I'm shocked that curb upset the car that much.
Yeah, I've heard that happen a couple of times, not so much in the 49, but in GT cars occasionally. If you ride that left side curb, it can really sort of pull you around.
Yeah, and there it goes. Interesting. And unfortunately, a little bit of a hit to the wall. Hopefully that didn't upset the suspension, as he is able to get it rolling once again. If we come back live here, you can see the second, third, and fourth place drivers continue to drop away from Mick, and a little bit of a dive from Togo Hisada down into turn 3. Does not produce second place, but he's getting a little bit more forceful there.
Yeah, and I think he has to, because Ove is really, really on his gearbox now.
Up and over turn 5. More of the lap traffic.
Oh!
Langevin.
Bill Wright has just had a big crash in the S's.
Oh, and is he upside down? No, he's right side up, it looks like, but the car is not in good shape. And almost the exact same spot as we just saw from Sanchez, except I don't think he touched the curb this time. Let's see. Car just starts to break away from him, looks like, and can't really hold on to it in time. He is in a huge pack here, too. I'm sure the distraction not helpful when trying to read the car here. Through turn 3, just a glance of the curb. Wow.
But it was late on when it went around on him. It was almost like he kind of lifted out of it. I don't think he did, but that's kind of the reaction that you sort of saw from the car. And we've got a big fight going on the front stretch right now.
Holy cow, yeah, this is down for about 10th
Oh, we've
place,
got a wreck as well.
Unfortunately, yeah, I think Mudrack is involved. Looks like Nieva, maybe? No, this is... Oh, that's Langevin. That's a lapped car. Oh, that's what got that all started, is they were trying to lap the number 39. It slowed up Sintez Galindo. You're going to see it here on the front stretch. And then behind them, someone ran into the lapped car. Nieva was the one in the 22. Oh, well, that just became a bit of a mess. And Nieva is now falling down to 36 because of that. I think he's got a pretty damaged car.
Yeah, he got into it pretty good there, and that's not going to help him for his points lead.
Even in the F2 Championship, it is about consistency, and you can't blame him. That looked like a lift on the outside of the corner that he could not have expected.
Yeah, I don't think there was much he could have really done that. And we've got a big crash, Haraski, and I think Laust Olsen is involved in this as well at the last chicane.
It is. This starts with Olsen making contact with Frauenberg, and that just checked everybody up. Oh my goodness, another case of just, it's a packed house today. And there's not much wiggle room as soon as you get everybody kind of accordioning together.
Yeah, and this was quite a strange one. It looked like we had two cars getting together on the apex of the corner, and then nobody could really go. And that just checked up everybody behind, who all just piled in.
Everybody expecting someone ahead to get on the loud pedal, and nobody really seemed able to do so. We're watching from Paraski's view. He sees it start to unfold right there. He wants to go. It looked like he almost got a hit from behind, and then another one, and that fully sent him around.
Yeah, Yeah, he's definitely out of this one. But I'm not really sure what happened there with the 41 and Lars Olsen. It looked like
we got to go to train grade
at the apex.
We got to go to train grade. He almost got he almost overtook Hisada down into the chicane. Could not get by, but he was wheel to wheel, and he goes 2 wheels off into the grass as close as he was. Now he's got to claw all that back.
Yeah, and all while this is happening, Mick Claridge is actually getting away. I think he's out of the draft range now. He's about 1.8 seconds ahead.
Yeah, he is disappeared into the distance, no doubt. And as long as these 3 keep fighting, that's going to make life much easier for him in this race. Did notice, I think it's been a while since I've seen him sport that classic livery, which I think is based on a real classic car that he has rebuilt himself. So glad to see him going back to the old black and yellow. And up onto the back stretch behind him, it's a lot of red and white and a little bit of orange still fighting. Look at Hisada here. He is definitely going to be pulling the tow from Vascalampi, who stays defensive off to the left-hand side. Wheel to wheel coming down into the chicane. Does the Japanese driver have anything to try and get this one done? Finally, he's much farther down into the brakes, and he makes the apex. That's P2 for Hisada.
Yeah, nice move there. We'll have to see if he can run down Mick Claridge now. He's a little bit further back than he would have wanted, but he's obviously got the pace.
About 1.8 seconds. So there's our marker now with more than half the race left to go. So he's got the clear air. Let's see if he's got the speed. This is not over for Vascalampi. Trangray did not lose any time behind them as they were battling. He is now seeing if he can maybe get by the Finnish driver. And up into the S's once more. Amazingly, even with all that fighting, this group has really dropped everybody behind. Martin Granberg, the next one, bit down about 6 seconds back there.
Yeah, and he's in quite a tight fight, actually, for that 5th spot. He's got Ryan Walker just behind him.
Walker up from his 7th position, having gained 1 spot. He's going to go by the lapped car of Gary Anderson, as we're staying with this battle here for 3rd place now instead of 2nd. Vascalampi looking a little out of sorts compared to before, just not getting as good a runs as he needs down the backstretch, which is probably what's hurting him most. And I think Ove Trangrade could have a shot. No, slight defensive move from Vascalampi down into the corner dissuades him. And now we look at Murakami.
Everybody going defensive now into the last chicane.
Ooh, and except Murakami's going to leave the door open, and Fabian Donna is going to try and step through that. Not as good on the brakes, but doesn't need it. He is now up into 11th. Sintez Galindo's trying to use this opportunity to skip away from those two as they get it sorted out. And across the start-finish line, yeah, he is really starting to distance himself.
Yeah, and I think that's quite interesting, though, to see that. We've seen some pretty aggressive fights for position, and that's what really breaks up the trains. So just letting somebody... Oh, he big wreck!
Oh, no, and that was out of turn 5, I think. I think he got the outside wall.
I bet he was way out on the curb. Yeah. It's another one of those curbs around this track which will really bite hard if you kind of get up on them too much.
Yeah, you can see the wheels on the right-hand side just clipped the gravel as well. I'm sure that didn't help right as he was looking for grip. Oh, yeah, you're on a trajectory out of turn 5, and when you hit that wall, it just spits you back across. So he's actually still racing. I thought he clouded that thing pretty hard, but he's holding 5th.
I'll be very surprised if he manages to finish that in 5th. He absolutely destroyed the wall.
I'd be amazed too, because usually the suspension on this car doesn't like to be hit at the side like that. It's sturdy-ish, but the Lotus is kind of notorious for not being the strongest of machines. And yeah, he's still holding his own. In fact, he's on the attack. He's trying to get by Granberg already.
If he pulls this off, I'm definitely impressed. Because there's no way that is at full strength after that hit with the wall.
Christian's going to be going down for post-race scrutiny.
Yeah,
Make sure
I'm going to be saving the replay from this one and taking a look, that's for sure.
And yeah, let's take a look at onboard. Let's see the steering. Maybe we'll see if he's struggling with it a little bit here. It looks pretty straight, so he hasn't borked the steering angle on it. Interesting. So even though he's not able to get that done now, it's a little bit of corrections, but that's pretty typical for this car. So watch it. Yeah, looking at it from behind, I'm not seeing anything from even offboard that looks too out of place. Man, he must have gotten just incredibly lucky there. And this does separate him from Vascalompi, who can finally breathe a sigh of relief and actually race his own race for what could potentially be a third, unless Trangrade can actually run him back down and still fight him for that spot. And coming down through the S's, there can't be any sort of steering issues because the S's is where it seems like Ove is strongest.
Yeah, it definitely looks in surprisingly good shape considering what happened, that's for sure.
Oh, here we go.
And he's going for the pass.
Down into 6. He can't quite get it in, but that puts Granberg a little bit offline. Off of turn 7. He is through, and don't forget about Ryan Walker back there as well, but that may have been a mistake from Trangarade because here comes Granberg back at him using the slipstream. I'm surprised at how many drivers don't just wait patiently for here, but Granberg lifts. He doesn't want to fight it. He is going to stay back there in 5th now that he's lost the spot.
Well, that kind of kink on the backstretch there is more of a corner, I would say, in a car like this than it is a typical modern car. So that might be why we're seeing a little bit of a different approach through there.
That's true. It did shock me. It's been a while since I've driven this car here, and how much they get light up over the crest there at the start of the backstretch. Probably not helping. If you look up at the front, the lap times between Hisada, Hisada is picking away at this. It's down to 1.0, so he's gaining bit by bit, and he's still got more than 10 laps to go.
I think he's reattached himself to Claridge's draft now, so I don't think... Oh, he's gone for a big moment coming out of the backstretch, though, and lost almost all the time he's gained.
Oh, it's already up to 1.3, and that's going to continue to grow with a poor exit down the backstretch. Vascalompi actually enjoying that because that'll bring him back to the hunt on seeing if he could get that second place. You can see just how hard these drivers have to struggle out of these corners. All the power, none of the weight, no aerodynamics. It's all that right foot. So, credit to Togo. It's still at 1.1 seconds. 1.2 I'm seeing now. So he didn't lose too drastically much, just a little bit. And we got a battle between Sintez Galindo and Dana. Oh, and that's a big catch there from the 5. But unfortunately, a whole stream of cars absolutely swamps him, and he falls down to 14th.
Yeah, that's a function of those big packs that we've seen. And looks like Murakami's actually going for a pass into turn 1 as we're watching a little bit of rallycross here.
And Murakami got it. He got past Sintez Galindo down into the first corner. Plumlee's back there in 12th, and Joseph Mudrack joining the fun. We got a 4-car train. Can't miss Plumlee as he's got a very day-glow race suit on. Coming up towards turn 6 once again. Murakami must have been held up somewhat because he's already starting to pull away from these 3. Let's see if he can keep that up down the backstretch.
Yeah, I think he's going to kind of keep everybody in tow here.
This is looking good for Mudrack there at the back in the 13 on Plumlee. Not sure if he's going to get an opportunity. Sintez Galindo pulling in as well. Much quicker in a straight line. Murakami can't defend. He leaves the door open enough that Sintez Galindo going to once again go side by side down to the chicane. and he's rebuffed. This slows both of them up. They're all suddenly chunked together, and now Sintez Galindo has a car to the inside. That is Plumlee trying to go through, can't keep the throttle down. He's now slow. It cascades down to Mudrack, and Mudrack takes advantage down into turn 1. He almost has 12th place, almost edges him off. Contact between them. Still manages to get through, not fully cleanly, but they get out the other side.
Yeah, small touch there at the exit. That could have been disastrous.
I thought for sure he was going to get tipped around and sent off into the barrier there in turn 1. Dana just getting away with that one, but he's going to fight back. And they've got Schnebel behind them in the 18 car as they break for turn 6. Plumlee defending to the inside.
And it's strung out a little bit, but this is 10th through 15th here.
So definitely good positions up for grabs. And I think some of these are our F2 drivers as well in this fight. Look at them fan out down the backstretch, each finding their own lane, having to swing across down for the braking into the chicane. And Plumlee stays clear this time. Dana can't get close enough ahead of them, though. Side by side once again, Sintez Galindo and Murakami. That's the 3rd lap in a row that Sintez Galindo has been side by side through there. And we've had a problem for Bill Tyler. He is into pit lane. What's happened here? Wow. Oh, that was a big one.
Huge hit in the last corner there. I'm not sure who that was with.
Is that a car stopped? Oh, somebody coming back on the track with a bad rejoin. That was 34. And that was Andre Chiteau. So both of them.
Nothing he could have done there to avoid that.
No, not at all. Oh, Hisada has caught Claridge. Now, has there been a mistake from Claridge, or I'm not seeing, unless it was this lap. Let's see the lap times this time by 19.7. No, this doesn't appear to be any sort of error out of Mick. This is just Togo running him down.
Yeah, there's a big gain on lap 16, and it's sort of seeing that the gap had come down to 0.6, but he's now obviously right up on his gearbox on 18, so definitely in with a chance of winning this race.
Ooh, and they got lap traffic in front of them. Looks like Andrew Ang is going to pull out of the way. Nicely done there, especially through the S's. That is not easy to do. So it is on now, and we're going to be 11 to go next time by the line. Hisada this time should have a slipstream all the way down the backstretch. I'm not sure how close he was last time, but this will certainly be a nice tow, but he doesn't have the exit he needs.
No, but he's so close, it should almost be a guaranteed pass.
I don't know about guaranteed from what we've seen so far this race. Trying to get by, like you said earlier, is slightly tough, which shocks me. And no, he wasn't even close to even attack.
Yeah, the exit definitely seems a lot more important than I was thinking, because when you're normally about 0.3 behind someone in pretty much any car onto the backstretch, you're almost always alongside into the chicane. So to see him not really be able to do that, it wasn't even really a mixed rear wheel either. So yeah, definitely looks more difficult to pass. We see a car coming out of pit lane.
Gary Anderson blinking on top of things, and that certainly made it very sketchy. Oh, and they got another one. Uldrich Fraunberg able to get through. The traffic is now getting thick and fast here. Well, maybe not the fast part as much, but it's definitely coming at them, and they've been handling it well, but this could be decisive.
Yeah, and this helped Claridge out, actually. It's pulled Hisada off the back a little bit.
Claridge gets some breathing room onto the backstretch. Let's see who gets the good exit here. Trying to avoid the wheel spin, and once again I saw that tail wagging from the Japanese driver. The 6 just can't get the throttle down. He is definitely not close enough this time.
Yeah, and that's really the only place that I would say that Togo looks weak is out of that corner, which, you know, is unfortunately the most important corner on the track.
It has proven to be the place that you have got to just absolutely nail out here today. Less than 10 laps to go now. across the line. So Hisada's caught him. Now the question is, how does he get by?
I think he's got to get a good exit onto the backstretch. It just doesn't look like there's really anywhere else that's, well, I would say safe to pass. He can obviously try a lunge somewhere. I mean, he's very good through the S's, that's for sure, but a pass in the S's? No, definitely not. Ooh, someone's just made a big mistake at the last chicane. This battle for 9th. We've got some rallycross going on at the chicane.
Trying to make out, I think that's Schnabel, who just completely overshot it. I'm going to guess that he touched the grass or missed his braking point or something. Let's take a look at it. Had a whole train of cars in front of him. Maybe just got unsighted here. As Leonard comes down. Yeah, he missed it. Oh, and he took... You know what? That is a very selfless thing to do right there. Just didn't want to run into anybody, ruin somebody else's race. Decided to take to the... well, not escape road, but escape grass and just cut the chicane.
Yeah, that's good to see, especially that he went to the right side. You see a lot of drivers will go to the left there, and you know, that could have been a big wreck otherwise.
Yeah, there's too many cars in front of him. He probably would have clouded somebody, no doubt. A little too hard to thread that needle. Back to the battle for the lead. Hisada has had 2 wins so far here in the Lotus 49 Grand Prix Legend Series. One at an oval at Indianapolis, and the second one, I believe, at Brands Hatch. Yes, Brands Hatch, 3rd race of the season this year. And he has since found himself in the hunt for the championship, briefly led the points even, but has yet to take another victory here in 2022. He's looking for number 2 in the season right here, and a little bit of a slide out of Mick as he's starting to finally get some cracks in that armor.
Yeah, Togo definitely looks a little bit closer this time. This has got to be his best opportunity yet.
There's a better exit. He's got the slipstream. It's 1.5 tenths as he closes in. Mick's not going to let him have the inside, or is he? Ooh, just drifts across in time to make sure and pinch him down to that outside. There is a savvy move from a longtime veteran in this series, but look at the opener from Hisada. He could get the launch, but it's hard to try and go wheel to wheel with these cars through the last corner. Still trying to get the exit off that last turn, and it is not to be yet.
Yeah, it looked like he was thinking about the move up to the bridge there, going to the inside, but it's just through the S's. He's so strong, and that's where all his lap time seems to be coming from, but there's just no way to pass through here.
Well, if he can just keep with him, that might be the way to go. You talk about the importance of turn 7 there. And this was not his best run through the S's as he actually falls back a little bit this time. I wondered if he could keep close to the gearbox all the way up to turn 7 from the S's. That might be just what he needs to do.
Yeah, well, there is kind of that sort of strange thing that can happen when you're so close behind someone that you're that close that you actually start compromising yourself, and maybe that's what's been going on for him. And actually, I'm not saying he would have wanted to drop back, but dropping back just a little bit to regain some momentum can help sometimes.
Granberg's had a problem, and this was a close one into turn 6. Coming up to the lap car of Andrew Ang. Oh, and what's happening in front of...
Oh, Mick's in it!
Mick Claridge, as he lapped traffic, he's off and he's into the wall. And that was contact with Jack David Spickett, who just unfortunately made contact in his own battle. That was an incident that Mick just was an innocent victim and came across before he could react. Wow. Unbelievable twists and turns. This is his perspective. He can start to see it unfold. He can clearly see it in front of him, Christian. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah, that's the problem. I mean, in the best of cars, once you've sort of set a line in the first part of the chicane, you can't really alter it. In the 49, it's completely impossible. He probably knew that he was going to be in that as soon as he turned to the left.
So Hisada, who I think was savoring that battle, even got onto the radio and sounded disappointed that he lost his sparring buddy, but it puts him way ahead of Ascalante. And whoa, my goodness, this is a cluster. And that is being led by Mudrack, who somehow snuck by Sintez Galindo in the S's, and it's not done yet. That is Leonard with Fabian to his outside, and maybe to the inside, it looks like Plumley, or no, excuse me, Chris Murakami getting involved. Plumley now goes wide. Leonard now sneaks through, and this is all changing around every second.
Yeah, and this group has just been locked together really for the past 10 to 15 laps, and it sort of extends out a little bit as it has done now. But you see Plumley there in the bright yellow fire suit.
Fabian Donna is going to be able to get by. Definitely takes a lot of that inside curve. I'm amazed they're not getting a cut course penalty through there, but looks like that is fair game, dragging the dirt across for them. And down along the front stretch, everybody taking it right out to the exit of the curb as now Sintez Galindo gives it another shot. This is on Mudrack. It was Joseph who was victorious last time, and the fight now carries on into turn 3. Too wide. He cuts across. Oh, that causes a wreck behind him as everybody tries to stay out of it. Fabian Donna, Chris Murakami are scattered across the exit.
Yeah, I think Don got the worst of that.
Oh, disappointing to see, no doubt. And I'm going to put that one up to seeing a wrecking car and slowing up, and not everybody got the memo.
Yeah, that's exactly what that is. You see Murakami getting really turned around there, and the big check on the apex is just, and this spot's notorious for this kind of incident. You see Plumley at the back of the line, everybody stopped ahead of him, just unable to avoid.
And that unfortunately sent a lot of drivers into pit lane. Plumley amongst them. Donna is in there. Wow, pit lane's getting a lot more busy. And I'm sure that is not a fun party to be in right now. As Murakami looks like he is limping as well. So Murakami is also out of this race, as he is going to have to park this one. He's just basically crawling down the backstretch. We've come to Ryan Walker. Now, this is ahead by a number of seconds now of Martin Granberg. Everything has happened immediately after poor Martin's wreck, although I'm sure he would rather we didn't show his replay. But he had a huge spin some laps ago now that was basically him touching the grass through turn 6. Managed to somehow avoid everybody, and it lost in the spot to Walker. And Walker now in P5 is still behind Tixier, who after being off and into 12th on, was it lap 1 or lap 2? I've lost track now. He's managed to claw his way back to 4th.
Yeah, Tixier has had a really good recovery here, obviously, to get back into the top 5. He's had a little bit of help. Obviously, Claridge being out of the race has assisted that rise somewhat. But, you know, it could have gone so much worse. He obviously had that mistake early on. Oh, the 27's getting turned around on the exit of turn 1.
That's Andre Bruno. And he tried to rejoin the track a little sketchy in front of Don Peak. Thankfully, no hit there amongst them. Coming down the hill, the battle carries on. Tixier not looking as fast as Walker, actually.
Yeah, and Walker is a driver who is pretty much ubiquitous in many different cars here on GSRC. So it's good to see him in the 49, and I feel like he's slowly getting faster and faster in the car, and obviously now up in the top 5. So yeah, really good race by him.
Got a little bit of tail wag there coming off of turn 7. So that's not going to help his chances at trying to attack on Sebastian. You can see a little bit of damage on the nose of Seb. So might be feeling that a little bit in the straight line. And is that... I think that was Murakami. Murakami is trying to stay out. He is trying to limp home. He is a lap down, but he's actually still in 18th.
I think it makes sense to try and keep going. We've got a lot of cars who've had incidents. So... If he can just bring it around with only 1 lap to go, definitely worth trying.
Credit to him. I like that never say die attitude, as long as he doesn't get in anybody's way. But Hisada is on the white flag lap. He's got a 3-second gap, almost 4-second gap to Vascalampi now. All he has to do is come half a lap home here today as we watch this battle for 4th place. Walker needs an almighty run coming out of turn 7 from here.
Yeah, and he's going to have an opportunity, I think, in the last chicane.
And I'm keeping an eye on our leader because we're going to have to head to him pretty soon. And this is looking pretty good for Ryan Walker, but we've got to go over to Togo Hisada. He's got a little lap traffic in front of him. Frauenberg just ahead. a very similarly painted car. But it looks like the rising sun rises once again, this time in Georgia for his 3rd ever win here in the Grand Prix Legends Series. And what's going on with Walker? He managed to get by Tixier, who's off the course. And Tixier, unfortunately, lost that one on his own. Just spun it as he got overtaken by Walker down into that turn. He still collects a 5th place, though. Nice job to at least limit the damage on that one. So Olsen going to get 7th, is behind him. Mudrack trying to keep back Schnabel in the number 18 machine. There have been some big climbers here today due to the attrition. Schnabel, who didn't get a lap time in qualifying, got from 37th to 9th. Battle side by side between Snelson and Piera. Looks like Emmanuel is going to get that one. I want to give a shout out, if I may have a little nepotism here. Don Peak as well went from 33rd to 18th today. It was a lap down, but still handy race for him. And it looks like last one across the line going to be Rolly Woolbank behind Nolan Smith and Matthew Maudsley. But that is going to take us to a quick break. We'll come back with the official results as well as driver interviews, so stick around. Welcome back to Road Atlanta. Round 7 here in the Lotus 49 Grand Prix Legend Series sees Toga Hosada get another victory and help boost his chances for a potential championship even. It was Teemu Väisälä who finished second behind him, just didn't seem to have the pace after he looked quick at the start of a Trangrade. Not a quiet third, but definitely kind of fell away at the end. Ryan Walker, how about that? Fighting spirit for the Scot today to get into fourth as Sebastian Tixier spun at the very last lap, at least got himself a top 5. Martin Granberg also had a spin late in the race that sent him back to where he began in 6th, and John Olsen was 7th. Joseph Mudrack from 20th to 8th was then one-upped by Leonard Schnebel, who didn't manage to get a qualifying in and went from 37th to 9th, and Heitor Sintez Galindo got himself top 10.
Yeah, Manuel Pereira had a pretty good race as well. He went 19th to 11th. Bruce Snelson, 21st to 12th. Marco Antonio Lopez Salgado, a little bit of a smaller mover, but still up 5. He finishes 13th. And Michael Grissinger up into 14th from 22nd. Nolan Smith, 25th to 15th. A lot of big movers in this back 20 here. Nolan Smith, I've already called him. Matthew Maudsley, 26th to 16th. Rowley Wellbank, the last car on the lead lap, he finishes in 17th. Don Peake, first driver off the lead lap, but a huge rise from 33rd to 18th. Chris Murakami, we saw him bring that really heavily damaged car around to the end. He comes home in 19th, with Andrew Eng rounding out the top 20 in 20th.
Eugenio Massa lapped down in 21st as Gary Hill was 22nd. And that is Christian Eschner in 23rd. Andre Bruno, P24. You've got Jorge Nieva, 2 laps down, 25th, and Gary Anderson at 26th. After that, it's Robert Plubley, 27th. Fabian Donna, our first of DNFs today, followed by a disappointing finish at 29th for Mick Claridge. It was Jack Spiggott he made contact with as Mick was leading. That took him out. Huff was a DNF, and Olsen, everybody from there on down, unfortunately, finding themselves not managing to make it to the checkered flag. But we do have Teemu Väisälä, who did see the checkered flag today. It was a win last week. It was a win at Snetterton, and he was just shy this time around. Teemu, it looked like you were quick at the start, but then started to drop back a bit as the race went on. What were you experiencing in the car that was keeping you from holding on to the back of guys like Mick and Togo?
Well, Mick had very good pace whole week, but I had some troubles with hands. I had to focus on trying to keep my hands as relaxed as possible, and it's not very easy here. You need a lot of focus, a lot of everything to drive well, and I'm trying to keep up with him. I'm trying to focus on keeping my hands, like not gripping the wheel hard, super hard. And then Togo started to get so close, so I had to focus on mirrors a bit, and then Mick was able to pull away. And yeah, they had better pace than me. And it's was not happy to see Mick. What happened to Mick? He deserved better result.
Yeah, he certainly looked like he was faster than just the top 30 today. But talk to us a little bit about the qualifying of the start of the race. We saw, even you mentioned that the track felt slippery to you. We noticed that the lap times were down from what we were anticipating. Did you ever figure out what was slowing everybody up out there, or what was causing the slipperiness?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, if you look at the temps and track usage, it should have been faster, but I don't know why it was so slippery. But yeah, it was qualify felt very dangerous, and I failed my lap 1, and then second lap I was so scared to push. I didn't dare to push at all.
Well,
but
in the end,
I don't know why it was so slippery.
Yeah, we were trying to figure out that mystery as well. In the end, a second place is going to be handy points with you vying for the championship. Anybody you want to thank for today's podium?
The same Lotus 49 guys and you guys.
That was Timo Vascolampi, second place today. Just outside the podium was Ryan Walker. Christian has caught up with the Scot to find out how his race was.
Ryan, that was pretty good, and you kind of got that extra position on the last lap there. So top 5 in the 49. Must be happy.
Yeah, pretty happy with that, to be honest. I mean, that was a challenging race for sure. I mean, I was having a good battle with Martin Granberg, and then he had issues with a back marker. I don't know if he got caught out or just lost his concentration, but I was having to keep an eye behind me on Sebastian. And then basically he got in front of me, and then on the last lap I decided if I was close enough to him and got the run on the back straight, I was just going to go for it and send up the inside, and whatever happened, and managed to grab P4.
Well, it's yeah. I mean, you mentioned a little bit about kind of getting those passes and the run on the backstretch. It didn't look as easy to pass as maybe we were expecting. What was the difficulty with that? Was there just like not really enough draft down the backstretch to pull alongside? Was it that there's that little kink that's more of an actual corner in the 49? We just didn't see as many passes as we thought we might into that last chicane. You got any thoughts on why?
Yeah, I think it's just the nature of that back straight, or that little kink like you mentioned. I think it's kind of with the 49, you can take it flat, but you've kind of got to get the line right through that kink. But I think also track temperature and could have played a factor as well, and just getting that run on the back straight, because I was struggling a little bit with grip at times, and I just had to keep telling myself don't overdrive or push too much, just do my thing and just get to the finish.
Yeah, we've had quite a few drivers mention that the track felt extremely slippery in qualifying. Did you find that sort of transitioned through into the race as well?
Yeah, definitely. I think I did notice in the early stages of the race it was taking quite a few laps to get some grip, and as the race went on, it slowly started gripping up a little bit, but not as much as I thought it would. But I think with this Lotus 49, it was definitely a fun challenge.
It definitely made for a fun race for us, and there's definitely a lot of excitement throughout it, and a couple of incidents too, but mostly really, really good battles. And next week, this is kind of a crazy one. We've got Monza Grand Prix without chicanes. Total draft fest. What are your thoughts?
Oh, I'm looking forward to that. That'll be good fun.
Well, it'll definitely be an exciting one coming to the line. I imagine we're going to see everybody just stack together the entire race there. But before we let you go, is there anybody that you'd like to give a shout out to?
First off, you guys for putting on the broadcast as always. You do an awesome job. The Lotus 49 community for helping out with stuff like setups and just help in general. But it's a friendly community, and if anyone's thinking about not signing up, but joining this series, then yeah, I definitely recommend it.
I would absolutely agree with myself, and yeah, I believe there is a Discord server that hopefully one of the Lotus 49 drivers can maybe put into the chat, or maybe we can put into the chat as well. But once again, congratulations on the top 5. It's very, very difficult to achieve in the 49, so just be very happy, and good luck next week for Monza.
Thanks, Christian.
That was 4th place finisher Ryan Walker. One more to talk to. Looks like Mick has left the showers and managed to get himself ready to go to talk about what happened from pole to 29th. Mick, you and Togo were having a fantastic battle before that incident. Let's start with the good stuff, then talk about that race for the lead all race long.
That was really good. I loved it. I didn't actually expect it though. It was so scary out there. No grip whatsoever. We did a practice session before. I was a second quicker on a qualifying setup. So yeah, it just shows you. I don't know what it is. I don't think it's actually temperature related. I think it's a track state. So yeah. But anyway, such a great fight with Togo. Yeah, I got that gap from Timo, and then I saw Togo going around Timo, and I just thought, I wonder what's going to happen here. And then yeah, exactly what I thought was going to happen did happen, and he caught up. So yeah, but good fun trying to defend him as well. He's really good into the corners, really, really sharp on the way in. He was.
Yeah, it makes me wonder if there was a simulated rainstorm the night before that just made the track green out there. what was going on with the traffic? It was going to be a packed house today with 41 cars out there, and it seemed like most of them were at least allowing everybody by, but that looked like just sheer bad luck.
Yeah, it was tough. It was not only that in the chicane, it was a couple of moments I had. I think I got stuffed quite a few times, really, but yeah, I was really taking liberties with it as well, you know. So when I was overtaking them around the outside, I was really close to them on the side of the car. But yeah, going into the chicane, I'd actually put that one on me. I went in a bit too hot. I don't know if you watched an onboard, but as I was heading straight for the car, my 50-year-old brain told me to drive straight at him for some reason, and then once I realised what I was doing, I tried to turn left, and that was it, too late. So really, I'm sure he couldn't do anything else. I mean, I know it was two guys spinning in front of me, but yeah, I would put that one on me, to be honest with you. I think Togo would have got me in the end anyway.
Disappointment, but it looks like you haven't lost much since we've seen you back more regularly. Is Monza going to allow you to maybe get one, or is that going to be tough with the slipstream?
Oh, we're going to try. It's not the combined layout, is it? It was just normal GP layout.
But no chicanes.
No chicane. Oh, that'd be good fun. Yeah, the tow will come in still. Not as bad as the combined layout, but yeah, the tow is still coming. So I don't think anyone's going to get a gap there. I don't care. It doesn't matter what pace you is, what you're getting, what your lap times are there. I think you're going to struggle to pull a gap. So yeah, it should be a good one.
All right. Well, commiserations, Mick. Anybody you want to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, one person that's watching, I haven't got her email address or her phone contact number, but she sent me a Christmas present just gone, and I didn't get a chance to thank her. So thank you, Maura. Or thank you, Maurice.
All right, that was Mick Claridge. Disappointing 29th today, but still put it on pole. So the speed's there. Let's hope that the racing gods smile on him a little more next week. And we're going to close up in the meantime. Of course, once again, with a thank you to our sponsor, the Majors Garage. Make sure and check them out at majorsgarage.com and use our discount code Majors GSRC for 10% off. There's a link in the description below that'll automatically apply it. Thanks to the Lotus 49 community for bringing us back for another season of coverage. And also thanks to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast listed here on your screen. Additional thanks to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. Check out her Bandcamp for more great work. And thanks to the team today, Christian, Rob, and Dougie. You can find more info about GSRC at globalsimracingchannel.com or through our social media. And make sure and check out our merchandise store at gsrc.storenvy.com. There's another link in the description below for that one. While you're down there, make sure and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a moment. As we mentioned, it'll be at Monza on Sunday, February 5th at 8:30 a.m. Eastern for the next round. We have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out. Mark them down on your calendar. The Camel GT series is coming up next today, and that'll be at Hockenheim at noon Eastern. Until next time, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.